Welcome everyone, this is Brian again. Today, let's see, we're going to be taking a look at Ichimoku, however the hell you say it. I'm not going to be showing you anything except the indicators. No setups, not how to use it, nothing like that. All I'm going to be showing today is the indicators. If you've read the posts I put before it, then you'll be able to see I'm going to convert some of these funky ass names over to some cartoon characters. Basically, just to help you. I learned when I did this, the guy who taught it to me used some old fashioned movie characters. But, basically, I find that a lot of people get confused and intimidated by the Japanese names. So, is what I'm going to do is break it down into something a little bit easier and make it visual for you so it's easy to remember the lines. So, Ichi, which I'll call it because I really honestly don't know how to say the full name correctly, is based up of 6 different components. The first one we're going to be looking at is called Tankinson, or if you want to go by what I'm going to do, if you can look at the little picture here, I'm going to be calling it Timmy Turner. He's from the Fairly Odd Parents. Tankinson or Timmy is the blue line. Now I'm going to be giving out a template at the end. I'll post the template that I use with the indicators I use so you can match up everything exactly as I'm going to be teaching it. So that way there's no confusion later on. You can go in, change colors, things like that, and adjust it. But for sorry about that. For teaching purposes, I recommend just keep the colors the same so they all match up. But anyway, back to what we're doing. Tankinson or Timmy is a blue line. It is the faster moving line. If you're looking at an EMA, it would be a faster moving EMA compared to like a 5 to a 21. Tankinson is basically the highest high plus the lowest low divided by 2, calculated over the past 7 to 8 time periods. Fun, who really cares? But if we look at it, it is the blue line right here. Next up, we have, I can't even say this in right, Kinkō, or however you want to say it, but it's a slower moving line. It is purple on your charts, and just to keep it simple again, I'm going to be calling that one Mr. Krabs. It's a slower moving line. Mr. Krabs is older, moves a little bit slower than Timmy, who's younger. If we look on our chart, it is the purple line. Pretty simple so far. Again, basically, as I'm doing this video, I want you to know what the lines are. You can't really use a system if you don't understand what the parts of the system are. So all this is going to be is an introduction to the different parts of the system so that you'll understand it for the next video when I start telling you if there's a TK crossover, you'll know what the hell that means. Okay, so far we've got Timmy, who's blue, Mr. Krabs, who's purple. Timmy's fast, purple's slower, Mr. Krabs is slower. The third one we're going to be looking at is the Chico span, or what I'm going to be calling it is Casper, and I made it white since Casper's a ghost. That is the white line here. The white line, it is 26 periods behind the current price, I guess is something important to know. And in the next video I will be showing you how you use these, but for now you just need to know that your white line is Casper. So that in the next video when I refer to it and saying you need to make sure Casper's here or there, you'll know what it is. Next thing we're going to get into is what's called the span. We have the Kinkō span. I'm not going to rename these. Reason being is I could care less. All you need to know is what the span is used for and what it accomplishes. There's 2 parts to the span. There's the Kinkō span A and Kinkō span B. It is the green line here is Kinkō span A. The red line is Kinkō span B. Now what those 2 lines do, is if you haven't guessed yet, is they create what's called the Kumo, which is directly translated over. It just means cloud in Japanese. I won't be calling it the Kumo, I'll just be referring to it as the cloud. Kinkō span A and Kinkō span B, I won't be referring to at all, except when we're setting up for rules, you want to make sure that they cross over here. But that pretty much, I mean, that breaks it down pretty simple. Let me see if I missed anything. Not really. So again, let's go over it. The blue line. Sorry, we just gotta pop up there. Okay, so the blue line's Timmy. It's your faster moving. Your purple line is Mr. Krabs, and your white line's gonna be Casper. Again, you can go by and learn the real names. If you hold the mouse over them, This is Tankinson, Kijin, and Cinco span is the white one. Then we have span A, span B, which form the cloud. Let's see. I guess we just to go into a little more in depth. The cloud, they call it the cloud. Basically, it's turbulence. It's hard to move through. The thinner the cloud, the less resistance there is. The thicker the cloud, the more resistance there is. That'll come into play in the next video when I start showing you some setups. I didn't put any bars on the chart, if you'll notice. I just wanted you to really focus on the indicators so you can remember what they are. In the template, in the package you're going to get, we'll go over that next. If we look at the indicator list, there's going to be 3 indicators you get. There's going to be the Itchy Alert version 3, Itchy 360 version 8, and the Itchy Monitor. Okay, so Itchy Alert, what is that? Itchy Alert is actually the Itchy system. It just has an alert built in. You just saw that pop up a little bit ago. Next, below that is the Itchy 360 V8. That is over here. I'll go into that more, what I use it for. It gives you price. It tells you if you enter on an alert, like this was an alert right here, and if you entered, it tells you about how many pips and everything you'd get, but again, we'll get into that the next video. And the last one at the bottom is your Itchy Monitor. It just basically gives you an overall of the chart on 1 minute, 5 minute, 15, 30, H1, H4 dailies, and it shows their alert. Like if there was a Timmy Mr. Krabs crossover on the 5 minute, it would pop up here and it would say short or long that there was a crossover. Pretty simple to understand. I'm going to give you the template. All you will have to do is add these 3 indicators into your indicators folder and then load up the template, and you should get pretty much what you see here. I don't have the MQ4 file for the Itchy Monitor, so a few changes that I did made. This color here where it says spread 0.6, neutral, 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 it was a dark orange and it didn't look too good, so I changed it to yellow. Other than that, everything should pop up as you see it. If not, let's look at each indicator real quick. On the alert indicator, inputs, your defaults are 9, 26, 52, and I have it using alert, message alert, and sound alerts all true. Email alerts are set to false. Alert type, I have 1. The only thing I want to know about is the Timmy and Mr. Krabs crossovers. I'm not too worried about the other 2. Later on, you can adjust this to get one, the other, or both. And I have everything set to true below this, so it shows the Tinkin, the Kinjin, and the cloud, which is Kumo. So basically, you just want all true. Otherwise, all your indicators won't show up. Like if I take out, just so you can see what happens, your cloud disappears if you make that disappear. So you want everything set to true. Pretty simple setup on that one. Now, this one, not even going to go into it. I forgot colors for you. Sorry. So if we go into the colors, you can pause this at any time, but just in case yours don't come out looking the same as mine, here is the colors. This is for the Itchy Alert version 3, and the width and style that you want on there. You can on the cloud, and just so you can see it, if you want to adjust the cloud so it's darker or lighter, if you adjust right here on lime green and tomato, if you go from dotted line to solid line, you see it gets a little darker. And again, if you want it a little darker than that, whatever your preference is, you would go now to the width. If we move it up to 2, you'll see that it gets a little darker. If you want solid clouds, all you have to do is go to indicator list again, and you would just bump these all the way up to big old fat lines. And you'll get solid clouds. I prefer the lighter ones. It's easier on the eyes. Again, you can adjust these however you want, just kind of showing you what you can do with it and what the settings do. I find it looks kind of ugly when you make it solid. You see it kind of overruns the lines. So for me, my default is like this is how I prefer it. It's nice and light on the eyes. So simple. you can see some of the alerts that are popping up. I did go with a version of Itchy that is alert enabled because you can monitor multiple charts that way. So the next one, if we go into indicators list, I am going to skip the Itchy 360 V8. We're going to go to the monitor. The monitor, the only thing I changed was, I believe, text color to black and no signal color to yellow. Now when you first add this thing on, the one thing that you do have to do, or else you're going to get a different box up here, is on inputs it says show.bclk. I put it to false, otherwise you're going to get a totally different box up here. It no longer functions. The company that I actually got this template from, everything, it's no longer in business. Their website's gone. So I replaced a newer version of the indicator here that is functional. I'm going to guess that maybe it was DLL loaded or something, so it wouldn't give you updates, but this one works just fine for what we need to accomplish. So again, if when you load up the template, you get double windows up here, two different sets of data, and I'll show you what it might look like. Indicator list, blah, let's go and see if it'll pop up. It doesn't show up, so we're not worried about it. It looks like this one's overriding it. But we want to make sure that's the false. So again, indicator list in the monitor, we want to make sure yellow for no signal, text color black. And for show.bclk, we want false. And we should get something like that. Okay, so I will attach a zip file or whatever you want to call it, just with the 3 indicators you need and a template for it. If you have any questions, please ask in the forums, hit me on Skype, whatever you need to do, you can get in touch with me. I hope you enjoyed the video, and next week I'll probably shoot out the last one that starts showing setups. In that video, what I'll be showing is, and just to explain a little bit more about Itchy, it's a nice system to trade with. Reason being is there's 3 types of setups. There's high, medium, and low probability setups. For TK crossovers, which is the Timmy and the Mr. Krabs crossover. Like, for instance, we have one. Oops, that's a little big, but you get the idea. It's right there. You can see my candles are hidden now. We have another crossover here, 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 here. It's going to show you how these are high probability or low probability crossovers. When you load it up, your final project, final product, not project, sorry, should look a little something like this. So this, when you're completely loaded up and done, this is what your final product's going to look like with all the templates loaded and everything set up and ready to go. And again, I'll be including those in a link to my Dropbox, so you can just download them and get set up with it. If you have any questions, let me know. If you have any problems getting it set up, let me know. Let's see, last note, the reason I'm doing all this is because in June I'm going to be starting up a little SpotFX group, see if we can't maybe teach some people Itchy and get you another. I know this is on a binary options site, so we want to be able to see if maybe we can get y'all into another line of income other than just binary options, especially if you're a US trader, because God knows what they're ever going to do with us from day to day. It's nice to have something else to rely on. And the way I use this, God, I am coughing like crazy today. The way I use this is it's for trending markets only. I use it to trade trends, and then I use my trading system for ranges. So for ranging, I trade bins, and for trends, I will trade spot or FX. You could probably adapt it over to maybe a longer term bin system, but really I want to focus on having 2 totally separate systems, bins and FX. That way I might have 2 separate incomes, not that I'm relying on one binary option broker for all my income. So again, if you have any questions, please ask in the forums, and I hope y'all have a great day.